Anti-intellectualism has gone so far that regular people are arguing with licensed professionals. We literally have people arguing with licensed professionals, PhDs, MDs, anything you want to call it, MBAs, MAs, BAs even, all because they get the gall to say, I asked ChatGPT. I really am tired of stupidity not being something to be ashamed for anymore, because why? Why are you so comfortable being so ignorant? One of my biggest fears in life is being stupid. I don't want to be ignorant. I don't want to be dumb. I don't want to be intolerant to learning. So why is it that so many people are comfortable being loud and wrong? And why aren't we doing anything about it? I don't understand. Like, if your friend is dumb, tell them they're dumb and go read a book. Seriously.
This is why a lot of times people say it's the difference between being book smart and actually being street smart. Now, I know that we speaking figuratively, but follow me here. Why would you ever say, for example, and tell your friend you're dumb? Why would you be insulting like that? I would have you to know the reason why they say A and B students work for C students is because these people are literally only book smart. And they get their validation from these liberal indoctrination camps that we call school and college. And that's why they can't translate it into the real world. They can't actually have any results. They don't know how to be successful. They don't know how to be a cultural fit. They think that the more that they read and the more that they look at articles and scholarly sources and all of this other nonsense, which obviously, I'm understanding exactly how to do research and all of that and how to validate your sources, whatever. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is that there's this conversation that's happening online about anti-intellectualism. Sorry, I'm a C student, so pardon my inability to communicate effectively. Anti-intellectualism and how society is okay with people being dumb. All of these, honest to God, is just liberal talking points from people that are overly educated but don't have the results. And so they want to argue with people, or they think that we just supposed to, us dumb folk, us C students, we supposed to just take their word for it because they said it and that they have the credentials and the BAs and the PhDs and all of this other type of stuff. But usually I'd like to have it be balanced when I'm talking to somebody, because usually when people are looking for somebody or looking to somebody for results, a lot of times it's not based off of whether or not you got a piece of paper. It's your lived experiences and whether or not you got the results. And so they're getting upset, and this is the conversation that's happening online. Let's continue. I'll show you.
The thing that a lot of you don't realize is how hard it is to be a highly educated and knowledgeable, because those two things are not the same and they can exist without the other person in today's society, and constantly watch people have think pieces and discourse
While they show their breasts, got it.
about topics that you have dedicated like your life's work to, and speak about it at such an elementary 101 level. Like, even when it comes to Love Island, you see so many of these think pieces and the way that words like misogynistic, patriarchy, conversations about
Love
race and
Island.
colorism are thrown around, and it's like so clear that most people's knowledge of information is literally what they've gathered on social media or on the internet, or maybe they read one or two books, and clearly they were never in a classroom setting where a professor could look at them and say that's an incomplete thought, or that's actually not correct. Having to interact with people constantly who have so many thoughts but that's not really rooted in like proper intellectualism is exhausting. Also,
It's so funny because most of the professors and most of the people that I've known to either become a professor or to teach at a major university or whatever it is that you want to call it, whatever their validation for or credentials are for being able to be in these settings, a lot of times they are not people that come from a background that they've actually done it. They've read it, they've got the validation as far as the degrees or the certifications, and then they teach it because they never actually implemented it. I'll give you an example. Right off the top of my head, if you ask me, Anton, how do you run a business? How do you structure it? How do you grow it to be profitable? How do you market more effectively? So on and so forth. This is just a conversation that I can roll off the top of my tongue and have off the top of my head because this is what I do. I actually build businesses. I live it. This content creation is a business. And so If you talk to somebody that gets their BA or PhD or their master's and all of this stuff, and I'm not saying that education is bad. I think that education should be used in order to get you into a place that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to get into without it, but it shouldn't be your entire personality. It shouldn't be the only thing that you can use to have a conversation to validate whether or not your argument is right. No, you got to lower your tone, strengthen your argument, and you got to be able to substantiate it based off of truth, not how you feel. But either way, neither here nor there. The point that I'm making is that I see people that went to school for it, but the only thing that they can say is how they feel based off of what they've read, not real life lived experiences that come from results. Let's continue.
Also, and this especially happened in law school, you had to come up with your own counter argument and rebuttal so that you knew before you opened your mouth whether or not the argument you were making made sense. And that's not what a lot of people do. They just say things and they have no idea what the counter is and what the rebuttal to that is. So it's like they're just talking to talk.
Black people are becoming more educated and anti-intellectualism is on the rise, aka not listening to experts. Because why? I really think that it's something insidious about it, because I just finished my first week in my doctoral studies. Y'all know we all getting this doctorate degree together. And my cohort is a mix of races, cultures, all the things. But there are about 4 to 5 of us in this program, or at least in my cohort. And today in my community engagement and social innovation course, we were discussing what we wanted to pursue in this doctoral education. What is the dissertation going to be? And do you know, all of the Black people in the room, including me, all of our research and passion and what we want to put effort and work towards was for the betterment of Black folks? Mine is about Black men's mental health. Another lady's was about Black women's mental health. One was about Black men and the father reunification when a child is caught up in the foster care system. And it literally dawned on me in class that
Is all of this supposed to be deep? Honestly. And again, I'm a C student, so give me a little bit of grace. Is all of this supposed to be deep? And I'm not really okay, let me hear the rest of what he has to say before I get into it.
Black people are getting more educated and doing the work in order to help Black folks. And we do know when Black folks are helped, everyone is helped, because we tend to look at the social ails of our people who get the brunt of all of the social ails in the country. So if we solve it for us, it's going to be solved for everybody else. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, we really are putting time, effort, and dedication into trying to help our people, not knowing if it's going to pay off for us on the other side. Meaning some of the things that I heard in class, not for nothing and nothing against my fellow doctoral students or cohortees, I could see that the research that they're doing immediately, I'm like, oh, that's gonna get grant funded. They're gonna get, they're gonna get this job. They're gonna be hired on at this institute.
Sounds like you are not wise enough to actually pick a subject that would allow for you to really get the funding that you need so that you can do what you want to do. You got to do what you have to do in order to be able to do what you want to do. And so a lot of I'm telling you, man, listen. We can listen to the rest of this and I'll play the rest of it if y'all want to. But a lot of people are not wise. They are not wise. You can't teach wisdom. You can't. It's something that comes with lived experiences, spirituality, growth. There's so much that comes along with it. But these people, like even some of the talking points that he's making, he's wrong and he don't even know it. But he thinks that because he's in a doctoral program, that his opinion is valid and is more valid than a person that may not be in a doctoral program. Now it went from anti-intellectualism to Black anti-intellectualism.
I don't know that the time and the effort that I'm going to be putting into the lack of adequate mental health access for Black men is going to take my career somewhere. But what I do know is going to help Black men. What I do know is I'm centering us in the conversation and in the research and in the limited research that's out there. I am creating the research and the literature as I go and pursue this education. So it will help us in the long run. And just all of that. And we are moving and pressing towards a society that is anti-intellectual, that is anti-expert. Not that I'm saying that once you are an expert, you got to sit up here. I'm real down here, real regular. I ain't even an expert yet. But what I'm saying is, it's a whole lot of us getting a whole lot of this, and now we don't value this no more. I'm about to go.
Yo, listen, what we need to do is make sure that we're not getting a bunch of student loan debt to study something that's not actually adding value into y'all life. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments.